should have remembered.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Partners in Crime. I'm Shawna.
And I'm Annie.
And today we're very excited because we have moved into season 2 of
which
Criminal
is
Intent.
the best season.
We are now just in a golden era. And right off the top, season premiere, dead.
Yeah.
So this was on Annie's top 10. And so Annie, why don't you give us just a summary of what is this episode about?
The episode is really interesting. It's a man who sort of owns this crematorium. He's a mortician or whatever, and he cremates the bodies. But it turns out he hasn't been cremating the bodies at all. He's been just hardly burying them in the backyard in this plot of land, and using the DNA on these dead, rotting corpses to frame those people who are already dead in new murders and stuff like that. So, especially in this one gang. Yeah,
so there is kind of in the Law and Order universe, the big mob family, they're called the Masuchis. And so it turns out it's not actually the guy who owns the crematorium, it's his cousin. But you sort of think, well, why is this guy just burying bodies behind the crematorium? What for? And the reason is so that his hitman cousin can harvest DNA and then plant it at these mob hits in order to mislead the police or create reasonable doubt. So really ingenious. But how does the trail lead to the crematorium? Who's our murder victim? Because that's how it always starts, right?
Our murder victim is a mortician. I don't even remember the name.
Yeah.
But, he gets, brutally murdered. And then the body that he was working on gets sort of defaced by,
Isn't it his body, though, the mortician?
Or, no, you're right, because they put him on the... Yeah, and he gets, defaced with these, boils?
Yeah. So it's, he's in a crucifixion pose, covered in boils that are filled with, it's supposed to look like pus, but it's actually just kind of some sort of soap mixture.
Mm-hmm. And so the reason that he's found like that is because the person that's doing these it's all based off of the
plagues.
The plagues.
The biblical
from the Bible.
Plagues. Yeah.
From, ancient Egypt. And I actually didn't even know this before watching this episode. So, this is just how educational this show is, that every plague was sent by God was to mock an Egyptian god.
Yeah.
And I never knew that, but...
Goran did.
Now you know.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah, so it starts off really interesting because there's all these biblical references. Because, Goran recognizes right off the bat, the crucifixion pose, and then also the boils on the body are, one of the plagues. And so he's, quoting the Bible, and then, surprisingly, Deacon says Genesis. So he, recognizes the verse.
And then back in Faith, Carver is quoting the Bible. Is it Faith? I don't remember which one it is, but he's quoting the Bible. So Shawna deemed them the Bible brothers.
Yeah, and it was pretty impressive that Goran could just say this verse off by heart. But it's actually turns out the murder scene was just staged because the killer was pointing suspicion towards this man.
This religious freak.
He had been harassing morticians because he believes that the desecration that occurs to a human body during the embalming process is actually contrary to God's plan. And so then we also, not only do we get all this biblical history, but then we get, a little lesson in embalming and kind of what's involved in the process and that it's controversial. And then we also learn, because when they arrive on the scene, they find a marijuana seed floating in the embalming fluid. We also learn that marijuana, joints soaked in embalming fluid are a hot commodity. And so It's just like right off
Just
the bat.
like so much information just like rushing in at you.
Yeah, and that's what we love about criminal intent. Like, it doesn't have to include, because that's actually very much beside the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of interesting background and how they eventually find this crematorium.
Oh
But,
yeah,
like,
the writers must just be so smart.
Yeah.
Just so intelligent.
but we really appreciate that. And actually how they do lead to the crematorium is then, you know, they start talking to like all the other morticians, and then they discover that there was a threat of a lawsuit against this one funeral home because this man claimed he never got his mother's ashes. And so then that's what leads them to go to the crematorium to like find out, so what happened with the ashes. And how does Goran put it together that the crematorium has not been running?
There's no smoke coming out from the chimney, and there was birds nesting right beside the chimney, which would not be happening if it was running every day.
Yeah.
And
And then
the air smell.
Yeah. And then it smells bad because there's decomposing bodies. We find out later over 100 of them.
Yeah.
So to me, it's sort of like, I don't really know why, like, they needed that many bodies. Do you know what I mean? But
well, just to make it all the more confusing, right?
yeah, I guess so. So then that leads to, so the guy who runs the crematorium, who is played by Jim Gaffigan, who is like a very well-known, hilarious, one of my favorite stand-up comedians, and completely plays it straight in this episode. It's just a dramatic performance, very, very good. Like, he's a good dramatic actor.
Not over dramatic though. So
Yeah,
no
so
Emmy.
no Emmys.
No
but
Emmy.
We'll come to that, don't worry. So it actually leads then from him to his cousin, because, you know, Goran sort of figures out this guy, he's not that sharp, right? Like, he just kind of is aimless, doesn't really seem very skilled, and yet when they look at his books, it's like meticulous. And then he has all of these little things around the office, like these motivational, you know, calendars, and it's some consulting company, and that is run by his cousin. So they go to visit him, and at his home, and what triggers their suspicions there?
Well, I think it's just like that he was sharpening this knife, and he just like the passion almost, like just how unbreaking. Like, he doesn't even stop while he's talking to them.
Just
He's
complete
like,
focus.
Yeah, and it's creepy, you know. Like, if you were meeting a guy for the first time and he was sharpening a knife that intensely, I think I'd be scared.
Well, and then Goran kind of tests him out. He's like, yeah, you should see what we found in your cousin's backyard. And he's like describing, you know, the condition of the bodies. And
it gets more, like, he gets more...
But he doesn't lose his focus. He doesn't even look up. So that fits the profile.
That's all that it's about, as long as someone fits the profile. Most of the time.
Well, and the profile's always right, you know? I know you're
Almost.
thinking of Croydon.
Almost always right.
But Croydon did fit that profile.
Sure,
He just wasn't the killer.
Intense enough, too.
Yes. Yeah, so then they bring in the cousin, and he won't talk. And this is a great Deacon's moment, actually. He's like, yeah, we're not going to get anything out of this mutt, which is just like...
Yeah, I know. I think at
Deacon.
the start they were, like, trying to get Deacons to be delivering the one-liners. But...
Yeah. So then how do they end up catching... Because it's a tough one,
It does, and it takes a while to actually, like, get into it. Like, know all the crimes he's committed too.
Yeah.
But the real big thing is they drag him in, they drag his wife in too. And then, you know, Goran's just putting up just such an amazing performance. Like, overacting, of course.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, getting all fussy because he finds out that the guy had, like, this porcelain cap. The guy who they found dead.
Well, first there's another mistake.
Yeah, there's a freezer burn.
So they find another Masucci hitman. He just miraculously turns up, and he's got the cousin's, like the crematorium guy, Jim Gaffigan, he's got his DNA under his fingernails. So it's almost like a gift from the skies, obviously to implicate Jim Gaffigan. But what does Goran notice?
We don't call them the actual characters' names.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
What? Sorry, what was the question?
So then what does Goran notice about this body of this?
Oh, he's got a freezer burn on him. And I was just saying, like, wouldn't there be a freezer burn? But there was, so.
Yes.
So
then they realize, or you've seen the episode before.
One of those. one of the two.
So then they figure out, this guy's actually been dead for over 6 months, but was frozen and just brought out of the cold at the right time.
And kept in that man's freezer. He has, like, a little girl and a son, I think.
Yeah.
And
they keep their food in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this scene where, this cutest little girl comes into the garage where the deep freeze is to, get some ice cream. And the criminal, keeps, opening it and, pretending that it's talking. It's like, chocolate, Rocky Road. And he's, being really playful. He takes the ice cream out of the freezer. And then
as soon as she leaves with the ice cream.
Yeah.
He just takes it out,
there's this sort of panel.
Yeah, the panel, and there's the body. There's the body in the body bag.
Yeah.
My mom once said, never mind, I don't want to implicate her in anything, but I have it in my quotes that she had a bag for a suit or something,
mm-hmm.
But she kept calling it a body bag, and I didn't want to correct her because it was a little too funny. And then we got to the church, she was like, Annie, will you help me with the body bag in the trunk? Sure, Mom.
Maybe stop calling it that, but yeah. So Goran figures out, thinking about how meticulous this guy is, and he's actually quite impressed, really.
Oh, yeah, well, he hasn't seen nothing.
Yeah, this is pre-Nicole Wallace, so sure he'd be impressed. But anyway, he realizes, but a guy like that, what would keep him up at night is, wondering what mistake he may have made, because there's no margin for error in his line of work, and so he would always have to be just, so careful.
So that's where we get to the porcelain cap that I was trying to bring up a while ago. Yeah. So Goran does his little act, and, the guy's like, what's happening?
And he's doing a good job of playing dumb, right?
Yeah, and so Goran is going up to his wife and, have you seen porcelain cap in the garage? And then, of course, when they leave, the wife tells him, about what Goran asked about.
He's, asking Eames, what is he talking to my wife about? And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, she's, rolling her eyes pretty much. And then, because his wife told him, he just spends the entire night. And they have a plan. The detectives have a plan.
Well, and they also asked her, where the kid's going to be home tomorrow morning.
Right. So then she also says that to her husband. But then, so they're planning on giving him, enough time to break and then coming in the morning.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happens. And he spends the entire night in the garage just, tearing the place apart, trying to find this porcelain cap and, digging in the sewer drain or whatever and, taking apart
everything.
Whatever it was,
shelves
the shelves.
And,
And the wife walks in and is like, what are you doing? And then, of course, Goran, Eames, and Carver show up. And, they catch him.
They catch him, obviously, looking for this porcelain tooth.
Yeah.
And Goran's like, you didn't find it, did you? And he says, you're not going to find it. It's not here. I didn't make a mistake. Because he's been up all night, crazed.
Yeah.
And then, Carver's like, sounds like an admission of guilt to me, which...
And then here comes the big, plot twist, the big, their trick. He doesn't wear porcelain caps. The guy who died.
So once again, clueless Carver is like, a costly mistake. And then Eames says, Eddie Ferguson doesn't wear caps. So then it's like...
They played him.
Yes. So there you go. That's the episode, and it's a really, really good one. So in terms of our, segments, Annie did you have any Emmys for
I
overacting
did.
to give out?
I did have an Emmy for overacting. And just so you guys know, like, the main characters can't get the Emmys.
Yeah.
It's not allowed.
Well, or they sort of just, like, you know, they get an Emmy. I mean, Goran would get an overacting Emmy.
No, they don't get Emmys. It's not allowed.
Yeah, they're not eligible. It's only guest stars.
Which is, you know, we're just so blessed to have so much overacting. And I actually forgot to mention in our previous episode that the lady at the, like, watch or the jewelry store was worthy. She's worthy.
Well, she was worthy of consideration, yes. But I don't think you awarded her an Emmy.
I don't think I did, but I think I was supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, in this episode, it's like this, I guess, the helper.
Yeah, he worked for the mortician.
And I don't know what his name is, but man, like, he's geeked. He's just, like, out of it. Very... How do you even explain that performance? It's like...
Well, because he's been getting high on the embalming fluid joints, right? And so it's a very just excellent...
Very, like, rare high, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole thing I'd never heard of before. And, like, Eames is, like, rattling off all this slang of what they're called.
Sure, but why... Like... That can't be that common.
Well, that would be the thing, though, because who has access to embalming fluid, right? So it's like a dream job for this poor kid because, you know, I guess, like, his mom got sick, and so then this murder victim, the mortician, gave him a job kind of out of, you know, charity. But he's been... Well, we don't know if he's been selling them. But
probably he has.
But we know that he himself has been indulging in the embalming fluid. But yeah, it's a really good overacting performance.
Yeah, and just like, just so out of it, just so.
Yes, and then every week we kind of try to pick our Goran moment, which is sort of the moment that best sort of exemplifies Goran. Like, we're looking for kind of classic Goran behavior and why we love Goran.
Yeah.
So what's your Goran moment?
My Goran moment is the magnifying glass too.
Yeah.
Like when he sees he has the photo, the one photo that they use over and over again
of this Eddie Ferguson guy.
About him. And so he like is like looking at the photo, and then he acts as if he just noticed something, and he walks over to his desk, gets out a magnifying glass, and is like observing it, and it's so him.
And, like, in the moment, we don't know if it's for real or not, because often that's what Goran will do. He'll be talking, and then his voice will kind of trail off because he's thought of something, right? And so, you know, he's looking at this picture, he's talking, and then it's like he clearly notices something, goes to the desk, looks at the magnifying glass, like, says to the wife, "Did you happen to find a porcelain cap in the garage?" But then it's like even sweeter watching it a second time, because we know that it was a fake out and he's just acting. So yeah, very good Goran moment. And I think actually the whole scene leading up to that, where he's, you know, not really interrogating the guy, but just sort of going through the evidence, and he says, "The smallest thing can give you away." And you see that gets a reaction out of him.
Yeah, no, he's an amazing actor too.
And in the, like, classic Goran form, like, his, you know, superpower is to be able to read a person, to know what they want to hear, but also to know what they're afraid of, right? And that's the path this time, is he figures out this guy is so afraid of making a mistake. And so he kind of just plants that fear with, you know, the porcelain tooth. Another good Goran moment I found was... So the first time they go to visit this guy, and, like, they follow, because he's been sharpening this tool, Annie said. And so then they follow him into his garage, which is kind of like a work station. And he's like, you see this kind of container of this stuff, and he's, like, rubbing his hands with it. And so then Goran picks up some tool, and then what does he say? Like, "Oh, I always wanted, like, a place like this," or something.
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
As if Goran would spend a lot of time, you know, in a workshop, right? But then, of course, he gets grease all over his hands. And so then, he's like, oh, sorry, like, may I? Like, and then he's dramatically, like, rubbing his hands and then just so dramatically, like, wiping them with this blue cloth. But then, of course, he says to Eames, we got to get my hands to a lab. And that's how they figure out that soap it's got the same chemical composition as what was in the boils, like, of the murder victim. It's the same thing. And so that's how they kind of connect him to that murder. But just a great Goran moment. Because, like, one, a typical Goran moment would be him, like, touching something that he shouldn't, snooping around. But there's always a reason for it.
Yeah.
So, all right. And, usually we have our kind of Eames one-liner. And usually it's a tough choice between many options.
This episode wasn't very, like, it was good. It was great, but it wasn't.
It wasn't really a showcase for Eames this episode. I guess because there's so much detail.
And you know how that makes me feel.
Yeah, because Annie loves her Eames. And I, too, also love the Eames one-liner. But I guess to compensate, they did give her the last line of the episode, as they often do, which was, that, he doesn't wear caps. But what is your Eames pick? Like,
I'm agreeing with what you have written down. When they first find the body, that's another Goran moment.
Yeah,
he's just like, picking at the skin, and she's clearly getting like, just like, it's gross. He's so gross. And she's like, you must have been so much fun in biology class.
Yeah, because, like, not only has he got to look at the boil, but he, like, squeezes what's in it, right? And then stuff comes out. And then he's like,
like, what's his deal?
But that's how they find, it's actually soap in there. It's not really pus, but... so yeah, that you must have been so much fun in biology class. And also that she says it in a way where she's just so squeamish, which is something we learn about Eames, hey? Like, that even though she's a detective and has to deal with all these gruesome murder scenes, like, she does frequently get grossed out by things. So this might be a good time, actually, if you want to share your bingo card.
Oh, my bingo card. I've been using this for a while now.
Just to give Eames a little more spotlight.
Yeah, I have an Eames bingo card. I have to find it. So what should I say? Like, all
maybe
the
just
options?
say the ones that were checked off this week.
Yeah, sure. So this week we got the, like, aggressive head nod. Mm-hmm. And then the head shake when someone's talking about, like, the murder and, like, explaining all the evidence. She tends to do that. Then computer, because she's the computer. She's the computer savvy one.
Yeah.
She drives in this episode. She gets a corny one-liner. She gets the last line of the episode. Mm-hmm. She gets mad at a man. She got really mad at the kid because he was like,
oh yeah.
And then turtleneck / red top. So it was just a red top, this one. Sarcastic, snarky reply. Abnormal amount of sugar in coffee.
And did we have that?
Yes.
This one? Okay.
So we got 9 out of 18, which is not very good.
But,
Usually I'd get like 10, 12, something like that.
I think you missed one, though. What about the collared shirt?
She didn't wear one.
Yeah, she did.
Not a 70s style one.
Yes, it was that striped one.
No.
I think that qualifies.
No, it doesn't.
Well, that probably brings us to our fashion call. And so what was your fashion standout of this episode?
Of course it was Eames, and she was wearing, like, this nice blue shirt.
It was a really nice shade of blue for her, and kind of had, like, a collar and just, very flattering, so that I would agree.
And the hair. The hair looks really good,
And the
too.
hair. As always, honorable mention to Carver, just kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
But then also the actual criminal, he came in wearing, like, a suit and tie, and he was pretty good. Okay, so now let's talk about why it was in your top 10. So this episode wasn't in my top 10, but I can still share what I like about it.
This one was one of the first ones that my dad showed me. Mm-hmm. So I didn't watch it with Shawna.
Yeah.
But I actually remembered it as one of the Nicole Wallace episodes, which was weird because I remember coming here and, like, you were like, let's watch a Nicole one, and I was like, I want to watch the one with all the dead bodies. And she was like, that's not a Nicole Wallace one.
Probably just because it was so ingenious.
Yeah, it is. It is so...
Like, that is something that Nicole would think up, right?
So that's what... The episodes I tend to lean more towards are the episodes that don't have a basic plot line. Obviously, there's no basic plot line in Criminal Intent, but you know the, like... Every crime show has, like, oh... she stole my man. Oh, they hurt me, so I hurt them back. I kill them.
Right,
blah, blah,
like
blah.
what's the motive for murder?
Yeah, the motive is usually just very basic.
Yeah, there's only so many motives.
Exactly. But, like, Criminal Intent once in a while comes up with really, really unique ones, and this is one of them. Like, no one would think about that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It just happens, but, like, it's not too out of... Like, it is possible. It's not too...
Well, and who knows? Maybe it's loosely based on something
It's
true,
probably
but
loosely based on
it
something
is
that...
such an ingenious kind of plan. And just how they uncover it is so cool.
And the plot, it's just like, you know, mortician hides bodies. It's weird.
Yeah.
And interesting.
And interesting. Yeah, I agree. So even though it wasn't in my top 10, it would definitely be close. So I like it because I really like Jim Gaffigan, and it's interesting to see him kind of in the dramatic role and just playing it straight. And they don't even really like, you wouldn't even know watching the episode if you don't already know who he is, that he's a comedian. And then it's really interesting because, so this criminal mastermind, I can't remember his character's name in this episode, but it's played by J.O. Saunders, who there's often, like, repeat performances.
For example, Carrie Preston, who is nominated for an Emmy, I think. That's what I was trying to say at Grandma's house. I'm pretty sure she's nominated for an Emmy. I saw it on TV. So
there you go
vote for Carrie.
But, like, usually, you know, maybe someone plays the murderer twice, like, as a different character. Maybe they're just a witness. But in this case, J.O. Saunders, in season 10, the last season of Criminal Intent, actually becomes their new captain.
Which is weird.
That's like you really have to sort of assume that the audience is going to forget. Because, I mean, it's one thing to just see the person again in a different role, but for him to actually become, like, a cast member.
Yeah.
And when we were watching it today, like, you sort of forget until he comes into the building, and it's like, oh yeah, because he works there as the captain in later episodes, so it's kind of hard to forget. Yeah. But, and what did you think of him in season 10 as the captain? I mean,
I don't like him. But... I don't like... So Deakins is my favorite. And then Ross is actually warming... Like, I'm warming up to Ross.
Really?
I'm not the biggest fan, but I think I like him worse.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Yeah. I quite like him as the captain in the last season.
But that's just because I don't like... You know, I don't like that they left, and I don't like that... I'm glad they came back, of course, but they should have gotten Deakins back. That would have been really great.
Yeah. He was too busy being the vice president on Homeland, though, I guess. But, you know, it's interesting to me because your dad, who's my brother, being like a lifetime Superman fan, is always casting people as, you know, various characters. And for a long time, your dad wanted J.O. Saunders to be Lex Luthor. So I've just always kind of remembered him for that reason. I think he would be a good Lex Luthor. And then also we see Rogers, too.
Oh, yeah. And so we're starting a new, you know, when she shows up, it's a new segment. What hair does Rogers have?
And so what shade of color would you call it?
Like, not burgundy, but like
it's a very
dark red.
It's a very
red velvet,
vibrant, kind of darker red,
and like, you know, straight, short hair.
Mm-hmm. And that's another
with
example
the bangs.
Yeah, which I don't know. I think like today's Rogers is kind of the classic Rogers.
Yeah.
But speaking of Rogers, like
the short hair isn't bad either. Like the really short hair.
Yeah. I don't really like it when it's blonde.
Oh, yeah, no, neither do I.
But-
But I think she does have short red hair for a
Yeah,
while.
I think so. But speaking of that, like, it's a lot of work for Rogers because they end up finding over 100 bodies in the behind the crematorium, and so she's got to like enter all the DNA and classify it. And then Goran, that's how they discover what they're doing, because Goran just sort of has this thought like, hey, have you tried running it through the national database? And that's where...
Another good Rogers moment is like that the urn is just debris. Like,
Yes.
no human remains at
Right.
all. It's just dirt.
So when they start to have suspicions, and I think this is before they discover the bodies buried out back, but like they start kind of calling families that have had their loved ones cremated at this place. And so then one family was like, yeah, you can analyze, our mom's ashes. And yeah, it was just an urn full of dirt. So that's what they've been doing.
That's horrible. That
It
poor
is horrible.
family.
Yeah. It's a terrible thing. And like just the indignity of all these people just being like, and they show the scene and it's pretty gruesome that their bodies are barely even covered up, and like what a disrespectful and disgraceful.
Just like dumped on top of each other too. So maybe when I die, I'm not gonna get cremated or buried.
Well, you have to do one.
No.
But, like what's your
I
other
get
option?
cremated and you bury the ashes. How about?
A lot of people do that. Yeah.
Oh, I was being joking.
No, that's something that happens. But then, like, not only that, but then they're, like, using their DNA to, like, plant at crime scenes. But that's how Goran discovers it, because then when they do the crossover, it's like there's hits on this DNA from different crime scenes that was just unidentified at the time, right? And so you see how that would work, that it's like you have a suspect, the Masuchis, but then it's like, oh, but there's unknown DNA under their fingernails.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't really.
So then even if you can't find the suspect and you still think, well, the Masuchis were involved, like it would create reasonable doubt that it's like, well, there's a alternate theory of the crime. So it's pretty brilliant in that way. Another little moment I like about this episode is, so they get the search warrant to look for this porcelain cap.
Oh yeah.
And then like Carver is like, oh, let me just call home, and I can come with you guys. And he seems like all excited. And then, they're like, no, we're going to let him stew overnight and, let him dig up the whole garage. But so then I was like really watching carefully to make sure that Carver was there when they went, because he really wanted to be included.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that was another good moment.
Yeah.
So very good episode.
So good, and like, what a way to kick off season 2. Just like start so many good ones.
It's actually quite amazing when you just look at, the list, and it's just sort of bang, bang, bang. And actually, like, the first 3 episodes of season 2 are on our top 10 list. So, I mean, like...
Oh, I know, like, in a row.
In a row. So, just, as I was watching this episode, I was actually remembering...
And like
years back.
Out of our top 10, there's
out of our
3
top
in
10,
a row.
yeah, that we both, or that at least one of us has put. But I think actually the next 2 episodes
we both
have on our top 10. So, what a heavy hitter! Like, and as good as season 1 is, we only had 2 episodes from that season, just because like season 2.
Oh, season 2 is so good.
And it's rare for a show to hit its prime so soon.
But I think that is the
and it
case
stayed
for-
good
Oh,
after that. But wow, like so exciting times.
Yeah. You can just see us like getting so antsy for the next ones.
And another good thing about this episode is we see a lot of the full cast, right? And they all have kind of good moments. So
yeah.
And so I believe that's it.
Yeah,
for
but
this
I
week.
did make art.
Right. Sorry.
So here's the art. I didn't find a lot of photos online. There's literally 3 photos of this episode online.
It's a real problem.
So yeah, this is like a Goran moment too. And then this is what we were just talking about. Carver gets to come, and that's when she's telling him that he doesn't wear the caps. So that's that.
Yeah, we should also mention, like, what do you think about the criminal's wife? Because, like, she's completely clueless.
Well, I mean, I think she should, like, sit him down and try to, like, have a conversation with him. Like, okay, like, are you a criminal or are you not? Because
Like, that's pretty bad, you know? I mean...
And doesn't she, like... Isn't there a scene where he has, like, plastic wrap all over the back of the car,
Yeah.
and then she walks in and, like...
Yeah, so I think
Like, so wouldn't she be putting those pieces together in her mind?
But, I mean, who thinks that they're married to a criminal mastermind, you know?
Well, Gwen Chappell's dad.
Yeah. Yeah, but she obviously just sees what she wants to see. And, you know, when they confront her about it, and they're just doing it so that she'll go home and report what they said.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to create, like, the fear and doubt in his mind. But she's just sort of like, it's not true, but doesn't seem completely floored. You know, and that's what I was saying to Annie as we were watching it. Like, I wonder, because he actually does come across as a really great husband, a great dad. But, like, how could you, though? Like, do you really think that you could hide the fact
I don't
that
know. And, like, wouldn't... Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so kind of an interesting question, but...
But it might be more disturbing if he's a good, like, pretender, rather than just being pure evil. That's what makes it disturbing. That he's hiding this while, you know, tucking his kids in at night.
Yeah. But that's the thing about psychopaths, like, because they're not like the rest of us, and so they try to, like, practice to be normal, but they're just, something's missing. And so often that's why, you know, they give themselves away, because there's just, there's something weird about their reaction or their response, and they have no frame of reference for what's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of wonder if those things would pop up, you know. But maybe not. Again, love is blind. You see what you want to see, and you tell yourself what you want to be true. So it's a good thing that Goran's out there, because if you consider there's like 100 bodies buried behind this crematorium, he was getting away with it for a long time. But then Goran and Eames got on the case.
And wanted to take a walk.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so that's it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
And remember, Eddie Ferguson doesn't wear caps.
So, see you.
Bye.